right. Yeah. Our previous video here was making our lovely, yes, this is the middle of our section A. So now we've done section A. Now we're working on section B. So I'm going to walk you through how to do section B. We've cut, again, our triangles, which are our squares cut in half. We're going to fuse this on here. Okay, so we've fused this on and we've trimmed to our 1/4 inch. We're going to put this section on. Oops, I'm going to do it this side. We're going to put this on, and I kind of center it here. It's up to you how quickly, how well you center them. These pieces are big enough, so they're kind of forgiving. I would rather have crumbs than not be forgiving. So here we go. Fold that one over. Put this one over here. And you notice I didn't go ahead and press it. Finger pressing is fine for this. And again, I'm going to center this a little bit there. Okay. Doesn't mean I couldn't press it. Just finger pressing for me was fine. Sewing along our edge here. Then we're going to finger press this one open. And now I'm going to go press these with the iron so that these tabs stay down. I have trimmed off my top here, so we're again at that 1/4 inch. I'm going to put this lovely purple piece here on the top. Here we go, like this. Okay. Okay, we're getting really close here. So this is looking a little bit like our previous piece. Now, you want to watch really carefully here when you sew that you sew right through your little spot here, meaning your point. If you miss it, and kind of like I did, and you don't sew exactly on it, you're going to cut off your point just that little bit. So if you want, what I typically will say is to go back and re-sew it, and then you can remove the seam here. So I'm going to come back and re-sew it so that I go right through the center. I'm demonstrating what happens when you goof. Okay, and you're going to say, well, but it's still in there. So now I know that my top seam is my good one. And what I'll typically do is then go back in and remove the bottom seam, which is the wrong one, like so. Just so you guys see how I do them. And the reason I do this is that way the pieces don't move and whatnot in between. But I'll pull all of this out, and what you'll see when we get done is that it's perfect. Okay, so I've gone through and I have pulled out everything. So I'll show you. Here's my, my bottom thread here. It will pull out here. If I can get my fingers on it. There's my bobbin thread. As you can see, it pulls all the way out here. Whoops, all the way to the edge. Seems to be stuck on something. But at any rate, when I've redone it, see how perfectly that point is now? So that's why you want to go right through there. So I'm going to press this, trim it, and we'll go on to the next piece. So I've trimmed this up, and now we're going to put on these last 2 little pieces right here. And I'm going to line up the bases here so that they're kind of similar. And we're going to stitch along this edge. And now the other edge. And I've made, this is probably my 13th of piece that I've made here. So I've used these same templates multiple times, and they're still going strong. I may end up having to use a second one just to finish this up, but for right now, I mean, they're still sticking pretty well, and I'll keep using them until they don't stick well. So now I'm going to trim this up. Hold on. All right, so now we're over here, and we're going to trim this little up here. So again, line it up on that piece of paper on that line that you have. Okay, trim these up like so. Now in this case, I kind of bobbled a little on my line when I drew it. So to be safe, I'm always going to use the outer line because I know that's the correct one. Probably should have used some white out on this to make sure I had the right line, but I was in a hurry. And then my bottom line here, we're going to trim it up. Never be in a hurry. All right, and then again, we're going to trim these little tails here. And the reason we trim these is it makes it easier to figure out, as we saw in our last videos, to figure out where to align your pieces, right? So just like we showed in these over here, when we lined those little tabs up here at the corners, it makes it easier to match everything up. And so then we'll go ahead and peel this off. Ta-da, ta-da. And there's our next piece. So you can see I've used these multiple times, and how this will come together, as you'll see later, is that this forms like this will form more of the block, but that is just the center of the block. There are some corners that have to go on after this, which is section C, but at least you're seeing how this is coming along.